Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. Well, as promised, I'm going to give you a quick little look at the unit I use for my grow lights and growing my plants on indoors. I also occasionally will stick some house plants on here, or if I've taken cuttings and starts of things a lot of years, this shelf has at least one shelf going with lights on it in the winter, just to get things through the winter before they can go outside again. This year I've been using my, if you can see it there, my vertical light from Barrina for a lot of my plants that I brought in. So I haven't been using all the shelving in that this year as much in the winter, but a lot of winters it's full. I do have one set of lights on, so this shelf is being utilized with a few plants going on it right now. I have some rosemary, some thyme, and I have 2 things of onions going. Now I started one in a video and then I found another pack of onion seeds that I thought would be worth a try, so I just did those this morning and they're going here. This is a 6-rack metal shelf unit. This was purchased from Costco, and some of the things that I like about this is it has really big, strong casters on the bottom of it, and I love the size of the shelves. So these shelves are 4 feet wide by, I believe it's 18 or 20 inches deep. And so let me get a standard seed tray that I use for starting my seeds in, and I'll show you why this is such a great shelf. I don't think you can really see, but I have my trays up here ready to go. So here's my trays. This is your standard 10 by 20 tray, and they fit across these shelves this direction. So I can actually get 4 trays on each of these shelves for seedlings. A lot of shelving units are only, I think it's 12 inches deep, and so you have to set your trays this way once they get any weight to them, which, I mean, even once there's some damp soil in a lot of these trays, they're not sturdy enough to be hanging over the edge, you know, this far or more on either end, and you wind up just breaking your trays doing that. So I like this size. I can get 4 trays on a shelf easily without breaking my trays, and they're well supported. This unit is very strong and sturdy, so I don't have to worry about these shelves bending or bowing, and I just love the size for fitting those trays. I can get a lot of plants on this one shelving unit, and these shelving units, they're not cheap, so the more I can fit on here, the better. Another thing that I like about this type of unit is being the wire rack. Any water that might get spilt or soil or anything like that falls through, and I can easily clean it up. Whereas, let me just take you over to some storage shelving that I have in here for some of my pots and things, and show you the difference in using something like that. So you can see this type of unit has holes, but they don't go through, they're covered on the bottom. And so water and dirt, you can see this one was out in my greenhouse last year, and even though I sprayed it down with the hose and scrubbed it, it still has, you know, some dirt and mess inside there that I just couldn't get out. And it'll hold water and soil, and I think that would be just a great home for fungus gnats and other creepy crawlies that I don't need around my seedlings. These wire shelves are also great for being able to attach grow lights to. So I have a couple of different brands of grow lights here, and we'll get into those in a minute, but a lot of them come with just little simple hooks. You can put wires or strings or the special shelving ropes that you can raise and lower, but I just use like twist ties or bits of wire, and I just wire them up so they're hanging off of here, or zip ties, whatever I have handy at the time when I'm putting on some new lights. So they work really well to just easily hang some lights that they can come off and on quickly and easily. I'm not screwing things into my shelving. I also even have a few lights where I've put really strong magnets on the bottoms of the light, or the top, I guess, of the light, and they'll magnet onto my shelves. So do I have any? So it looks like I just have the one with magnets on it right now. If I can get it to pull off. Oh, it's hooked in with the cable. I have the cable for that one run through the end, but it's just magneted on there with some very strong magnets. That just keeps them in place, and I don't really have to worry about them going anywhere. Yeah, that long light, I have to put the cords through the end pieces like this, so I can't easily get it out to show you, but they're just attached there with magnets. When I have shorter lights on there, I can pop them on and off really quick and easy. So here's one of my, I think this is a 2 foot, maybe 18-inch light. And you can see I can just take it with the magnets and just do that and just add an extra light if I ever need an extra light somewhere. And then just pull it off. Sometimes the magnets stay on the shelf, but they can go on quite easily. So that's the kind of, I just use one of those type hooks. The top of the light isn't magnetic, it's aluminum, but this hook type is, so I can put it on like that. So if you have really strong magnets, it's a really easy way to get them onto metal shelving. The only thing that can be a problem sometimes with this type of shelving is there is a slight lip from the bars that go front to back and the bars that go across. So I do have a piece of cardboard here, and I'll probably be cutting some new cardboard to put on some of these shelves. The cardboard levels out the playing field so my trays can sit completely level front to back. And it's also nice when I'm putting out a heat mat, that cardboard helps, I believe it does anyways, helps to hold the heat where I want it by the seed tray. I mean, heat rises anyways, but I just think if you have all this extra air space, you're probably losing more heat than having that cardboard underneath. I've never done any actual testing on that, but that's my theory. And these are just really handy for hanging my planning calendars on as well. And hooking, this is a controller for the heat mat, so I can hook it up on here. It's just twist tied on. Like this metal shelving with the wires, it just is really easy to put anything on it that you want. The big question is probably, what do I use for lighting? And really, I'm not super fussy on my lighting. When I first got started, I was using really basic like shop light type lights, and they work just fine. And then I moved up to this style. I think this one is Sunblaster. Yeah, Mackenzie does some like this as well. And some of these you can get now, like this is a T5 bulb. Some of the style you can get with LEDs. And that's what I mostly have behind me now is LEDs. I also have a few larger sets of lights that I picked up at Costco years ago, and they give you the option of choosing a red light or a blue lighting or both on. They're a little bit bigger unit, so they look like this. They have parts that you can hang them with, and they have the LEDs in there with switches that you can choose, red or blue light, and then you can interconnect them with these plugs here. These are really big units, and the one thing with this shelving is once you start to get really big plants on it, either you have to take a shelf out, which isn't super easy. It can be done, but you have to kind of take the whole thing apart to do that, or you're losing a lot of space with a light like this trying to get it hung in here. I just found them really big, and they're heavy, they're bulky. So, and I didn't find any advantage to choosing red light, blue light, both lights. Like most of the time I just had them both on, and they give off kind of a pinkish glow, which I didn't really appreciate in my grow room. So I don't use these a lot anymore, but I still have them because they will work in a pinch if I need extra lighting. Most of my lighting that I have now is either sold by Monios, I believe, or Barrina. And they're these long 4-foot tubes. Some of them are single LED tubes, some of them have doubles in them, and they will all interconnect and work together and play nice together. And so I really like that. And since they run the full length of the shelf, it just makes it super simple for me to hook them on here and use them. So that's what I mostly use on my shelf here. I do still have some of these other lights. Once I get around March, April, sometimes I need extra lights in my grow space, Or I have plants that want to be in a cooler area, so I move them off the shelf, because with all this lighting, you can imagine, even though they're LEDs, they get quite warm still with that much going on. So I just move them somewhere else, and I'll just set one of these over. I have stands that can go on the ends to hold them up above the plant trays, and they just sit down on the cool basement floor, and that just keeps them a bit cooler. So I do use a lot of these other lights, and I'm hoping to actually get another one of these shelves. I'm kind of watching for them to go on sale, and it would be nice just to have one more shelf in here, but not completely necessary. I can get by with this. The lights that I have, like I said, they're LED. They're specifically for growing plants with, but they're not a high-end light. I'll put links in the description down below, so just look for the info under the video. If you're on a mobile device or computer or something, and then you'll be able to click more and see, and you can find the links if you want to check them out for yourself. I know the Barrina should still be available. The Monios, I think, still are, but I'll put them in there if you need. And I'll link these little ones to the Sunblaster or Mackenzie or whatever I can find. I find them, they're interchangeable. I put the lights between the two of them interchangeably. I think they're probably produced out of the same factory or very similar. These work if you just have a few things that you're starting, you want to set them on a table or something and not have a whole setup. These are nice, and you can get them with different types of stands that work well. Like I said, I'm not super fussy. As long as the plants will be sustained and healthy, I don't need to have some fancy, super brand name lighting. I just want something that works well. And so I've gone through and tried a lot of different lights. These work well for me, and I can interconnect them all. And I'm going to show you how I have them interconnected, because I have them so that I can flick one switch, have one timer going, and have all of these shelves come on at once, or just a couple of plugs, and then I can just have one going at a time. So it's really easy for me to adjust the lighting to the needs that I have at the time. Like right now, I just have this shelf going, and once I get another shelf with some bigger trays going, I can just add that on really easy and quickly. All the lights are already attached to the shelf, and I have a power bar right here. So let me bring you in and I'll show you what I'm doing with that. So here you can see the power bar, and I just have one cord plugged into it right now. Now I can do one cord, or I can plug all my lights in, or if you look at the ends of my lights, every one of these lights has an input side and an output side. So there's a plug on all the ends. And all I need to do is make sure that I have one input end at one end of my shelf and one output end at one end of my shelf. And then I can either interconnect the lights at the other end if I want, and just have, see, this, is this, no, it's not the shelf I have on, but if I wanted just this shelf on, I could take just this cord and plug it into my power bar. My power bar is connected to my timer, and I would have this light bar on, and then I could go to the other end and interconnect it with these lights. All come with cables that you can plug into the ends. So at the other end where my power bar isn't, I would plug one end of this connecting cable into the ends of the lights at the other side of my shelf. And then both of these lights will run with just one plug in. Now the way, oops, I'm knocking flowers off my begonias here. The way I have it right now, so I have them interconnected at the far end here, and then I can run this connection wire up, and then where's the plug? Hopefully I have this right. I didn't actually check before I did this. And if I plug that in, turn those on. So this set is on, and this set is connected in with the upper set, so it came on as well. So I can connect all the sets together just using those connection wires, and it'll work really well to just get my whole shelf lit up. So I can pick whichever shelves I want lit up. Really easy. Use those connection wires, which is why I love these brands so much, and they have nice long wires. Whereas the Sunblaster and that, they have the connection wires, but I think they're only like maybe a foot long. So it's not as handy. It's easy to connect two lights together, but not from shelf to shelf. the way I just did with these. So it's nice to have them that way. This is my timer. I'm really happy with this brand of timer. They are one of the few timers that I can find that handle a 3-prong plug. So a lot of my grow lights not require 3 prongs, so they work well for that. And it's really easy to adjust the time. You just lift those up or push them in, whether you want the time on and off, and there's just a little arrow that you set the time of day on. It's very clear if you have it in timer mode or just light mode or on mode. And they don't cover both the outlets, so I can still plug something in below that. It doesn't quite look like it at this angle, but I can easily plug in. And this one has 2 outlets, so they use the same timer mechanism or timer setting, I guess, but it's nice to be able to do that. So I have my vertical Barrina light plugged in on one side, and then my power bar for the whole shelving unit on the other side. And that's just how I have it set up. It's quiet. You can hear right now. It doesn't make a sound. I just replaced one that I had dropped one too many times and it was clicking, but I had broken it. So that's why it was making a clicking sound, and this one is completely silent, which I like. So if you're looking for a good timer, again, not affiliated with them at all. I'll see, I bought this at Walmart. I don't know if you can get it on Amazon, but I'll link to it if I can find it. But I'm really happy with this Stanley brand of timers. One more important aspect of having plants growing in close proximity to one another is having some fans. So I have a couple of fans at the ready that I can have directed at the plants on the shelving so that they're getting air circulation, which makes them stronger and helps to keep the humidity down and keep things like insects and diseases and things down in your plant room. So fans, nothing fancy again, just the ones from a secondhand store, but they do the job and that's all I need. So hopefully that gives you some idea of what I have going on here and why I've chosen the products that I've chosen. I've tried to make this an easy setup to make for myself. I can move it around. Like I just switched rooms a couple of times this year as we're kind of moving things around in our house. So this shelf has kind of traveled around a few places this winter, and it was easy to do that with this setup. There's no unscrewing things, you know, leaving big holes in the walls or anything like that. And it's easy, lightweight. I can move this around on my own. And the lighting is really good quality. I've been using these lights for several years. I'm super happy with them, but they weren't super expensive because this is my hobby. This isn't something that I'm making money off of. I mean, I make a little money off of the YouTube videos, but not much. I'm just really growing the plants, and I started with shelving and things because I like growing the plants and I'm growing them for myself. So I didn't want to put a lot of money into them. So I want to get the biggest bang for my buck in my setup, and I want it to be easy to use because when I'm busy with my other pursuits in life, but I have a ton of plants to get started and take care of in here, I want something that's really user friendly, quick to use, and quick to set up and get going and adjust the lighting as needed. These lights, I find I don't need to raise and lower as much as some of my other older, like the T5 lights or like the shop lights. You want the lighting for some of these very close to your seedlings and plants when they're young. These LEDs that I have here don't seem to be needing to be as close. If I do need to raise plants, if they seem like they're getting leggy for whatever reason, it's not getting enough light, either I can add another light bar in there just to supplement the light, or a lot of times I keep boxes that you can purchase fruit in, like flat boxes, and I'll just set the box on the shelf and then set the seed tray on top, or just anything I can find just to raise that seed tray up a little bit. I do have one set of wires somewhere that's easy adjustable, but they're really expensive, and so I've never felt the need to invest in more. That set just came with the lights. Yeah, it's basically as inexpensive as you can almost go without going to shop lights, and I'm really happy with it. So thanks for coming along and learning about my lighting with me. You might notice I have a mirror behind me, and I just happened to have a very large, tall mirror kicking around. And so I've just stuck it behind here, and it just reflects a little bit of the light around on the plants, but it's not doing a lot, but makes me feel like I'm doing more for them. Like I said, I'll pop some links to those lights down below if you're interested in them. I just purchased them on Amazon, and I think they're still there. So just look in the description down below if you're interested. I do get a little kickback if you use those links. It doesn't adjust your price at all, but it does give me a little like commission from Amazon for selling them. But don't feel like you have to buy them from Amazon if you can find them elsewhere, or if you have other types of lights elsewhere. But I'll be starting lots of seeds and getting these shelves full very soon, so stick around to see that happening. Thanks for watching. Bye.